Chapter 741. What? Sensing Linley's confidence, her woman's sixth sense told her that the person in front of her was extremely dangerous. Just as she was about to withdraw her spiritual energy, she felt as if there was a special force binding her, making it impossible for her to move. Hua Yuan was shocked. She looked at Lin Rei with a shocked expression. She did not expect things to turn out this way. It was completely different from what she had imagined. Since you're here, do you think you can leave? Looking at the mental energy needle in front of him, he suddenly activated the devouring heaven art. With a terrifying devouring power, he raised his hand and sucked in the mental energy needle in front of him. No, don't. At this moment, she clearly felt that the energy was the most terrifying devouring power in the world. At this moment, she was afraid. She was really afraid. Unfortunately, it was all too late. Lin Rei did not care about Hua Yuan's pleas for mercy. His face was cold, and his lips curled into a bloodthirsty smile. Suddenly, the devouring heaven art was fully activated, and a tyrannical devouring power was released. The next moment, the mental energy that Hua Yuan used to attack him was completely devoured by Lin Rei's devouring power. It was converted into pure mental energy, replenishing Lin Rei. Sensing that his spiritual energy had suddenly increased, a hint of a smile appeared on Linley's face. He really hoped that he could do this a few more times. That way, his mental energy would increase again, and he would not have to worry about breaking through to the saint level. But at the same time, he knew that it was impossible. After the first time, who would dare to be tricked a second time? Sure enough, just as Lin Rei thought of this, Hua Yuan said, "No more, no more. If I go down again, all my mental energy will be devoured by you." After saying that, Hua Yuan spread out her hands and stepped aside helplessly. She did not speak anymore. Seeing this, Lin Rei could not help but sigh, "Ai. Forget it, I still wanted to devour more. Since you don't want to give it to me, then forget it." Even though Lin Rei spoke softly, how could Hua Yuan, a grand perfection god emperor, not hear him? Hearing Lin Rei's words, Hua Yuan wanted to give him a good beating. At this moment, Lin Li no longer paid any attention to Hua Yuan. Instead, he went to Lu Yu's side and asked, "Come, give me the prize for the champion." "All right, please wait a moment." Upon seeing that Lin Rei had won, Lu Yu casually took out a ring and handed it to Lin Rei. "Senior, this is yours," he said fawningly. Without looking at him, she took the ring and nodded. Then, she walked over to Hua Yuan's side. Even though she had received the prize of the alchemy conference, she had yet to receive her prize. At that moment, when Chu Ci saw Lin Rei's actions, she took a step forward and stood behind him. She stood there respectfully and did not say a word. At that moment, seeing that the alchemy conference had come to a dramatic end, Lu Yu smiled bitterly and said regretfully, "This alchemy conference has come to a successful end. After 100 years, the alchemy conference will be held again. I hope that everyone will participate enthusiastically." After saying that, Lu Yu did not stay any longer. He directly left and walked towards the depths of the alchemy guild. Everyone present did not move, except for Lu Yu. As for them, they wanted to curry favor with Lin Rei, Hua Yuan, and Chu Ci. After all, their alchemy realms were still there. Of course, Chu Ci did not count. However, because he was Lin Rei's follower and could concoct pills with 5 patterns, they would not let go of this opportunity. At that moment, looking at Hua Yuan, Lin Rei was full of questions. Seeing that the people around him had no intention of leaving, Lin Rei waved his hand and an honorable realm array appeared instantly, enveloping Lin Rei and Hua Yuan. However, Lin Rei did not want to know. Because the array that he casually set up caused an uproar and discussion among the people present. Damn, what an all-round genius. Concocting pills, refining weapons, and now a magic array. How can we live? Boo-hoo. That's right. How can we live like this? This kind of person is the evilest of evilest, the most abnormal of all. Sigh. Who said otherwise? What does it mean to be the darling of heaven and earth? That is. At that moment, Chu Ci, who was standing in the magic array, heard the discussions of the people. Suddenly, Chu Ci could not help but raise his chin with a proud expression on his face. It was as if the people were talking about him. At that moment, Zhuge Hochao had seen the whole process. At that moment, he was deeply convinced that Lin Rei was not bluffing when he said that he could concoct supreme divine artifacts. He really knew how to concoct supreme divine artifacts. In the next moment, Zhuge Hochao could not help but feel excited. When he thought that he would soon have a supreme divine artifact, he did not know what to do. At that moment, in the magic array, Lin Rei looked at Hua Yuan and smiled. He said, "Tell me, why are you in the lower realm? How did you come here? What are your intentions in coming to this alchemy conference? Why did you stop?" At that moment, hearing Lin Rei's questions, Hua Yuan looked as if she had lost to him and said, "Don't ask any more. I will not tell you everything." Since she had lost, she had to accept it. After all, this was what she had always believed in since she was young. Seeing how straightforward she was, Lin Rei was naturally happy. At least he did not have to ask her one by one. "My name is Hua Yuan. I come from the barren plain of the Holy World. The barren plain has a sect and a top-notch clan. This clan is our Hua clan. You should know all this, right?" That's right." Linley nodded his head disapprovingly. Indeed, Linley basically knew what she had just said. Looking at his reaction, Hua Yuan looked helpless and tired. "If that's the case, then I will tell you some things that you don't know." At that moment, he could clearly feel the change in Hua Yuan's aura. She was no longer as lively and cute as before. Instead, she became more mature. It was as if Hua Yuan was 18 years old before and she was now 30 or 40 years old. "Although my clan is the #1 clan in the barren plain, in the Holy World, there are some existences in the 10 great continents. The Huang Plain is the lowest out of the 10 plains, while our desolate plain is ranked 6th. However, the matters of the clan are not limited to lower worlds. Even the Saints' world is not immune to it," Jian Chen said with a sigh. Hearing this, Lin Rei laughed. "Don't tell me it's a marriage alliance." Sigh. She did not want to admit Lin Rei's words, but it was the truth. Marriage alliance was an unavoidable existence for every clan, including the Holy World, which was a sacred place in everyone's eyes. It's true. Seeing Hua Yuan sigh, it meant that he had guessed correctly. Immediately, Lin Rei laughed even harder. He did not expect that the Holy World would have such emotional disputes. "Yes, that's right." Looking at Lin Rei, Hua Yuan continued, "Although my clan is powerful and our bloodline is the direct line of descent, my father only has me as a daughter and no son. In order to strengthen the position of the direct line of descent in the clan, my father betrothed me to the #1 clan in the 8th Yu continent, the young master of the Guyu clan, Guyu Lanbing." Isn't that good? The 8th continent? It's only second to the 9th or 10th heavenly layer. It should be very powerful. At this moment, Lin Rei's words were exactly the words of those who had been persuading her. If this was not the divine world, she would probably think that Lin Rei was sent by her father to persuade her. Although the Guyu clan is powerful, Guyu Lanbing is a famous playboy in the Holy World. Just the women by his side are more than 10 times more than the people here. Tell me, can I marry such a person? Such a playboy, how can I give up my life's happiness? At this point, tears flowed down her face. Looking at her, Lin Rei sighed. Sigh. That's how clans are. For their own benefits, they don't care about sacrificing anyone. After all, only power is eternal. Yes. At this moment, Hua Yuan agreed with Lin Rei's words. So, I prepared to leave the Hua clan and wander the Holy World. Although the outside world is full of danger, at least I don't have to marry someone I don't like. Finally, with the help of a servant, I escaped from the Hua clan. But who would have thought that the servant had already become Guyu Lanbing's spy? The reason why he helped me was because he wanted to give me to his master, Guyu Lanbing. Heh, that's quite tragic. At this moment, Lin Rei couldn't help but admire her luck. Yes, not long after I left the barren state, I met Guyu Lanbing. When he wanted to do something to me, I used a secret technique to escape. Just like that, a chase began. I entered the life of a fugitive, and this fugitive lasted for 1,000 years. During that 1,000 years, I lived in hell. There wasn't a good day, and I didn't have a good meal. After 1,000 years, he finally caught up. Just when I was in despair, I accidentally stepped into a mysterious formation. After that, I fainted. When I woke up, I was already here. After I woke up and asked, I found out that this was the divine world. Just like that, I drifted here for 2,000 years. At this moment, Lin Rei could be said to have heard a person's life story. Such a strange story actually happened to her. Okay, I'm done. Can we leave now? At this moment, Hua Yuyin recovered from her memories and said to Lin Rei. Leave? I haven't finished asking. Why are you in such a hurry? Seeing that she was about to leave, Lin Rei couldn't help but stop her. Aya, what else do you want to ask? At this moment, Hua Yuyin was a little impatient. Nothing. I just want to ask, how's the situation in the heavenly court in the holy world? You know about the heavenly court? At this moment, Hua Yuyin, who was originally impatient, was immediately energized the moment she heard this. That's right. Not only do I know about the heavenly court, but I also have a grudge against the master of the heavenly court, Hao Tian. At this moment, when she thought about how her eyes were blinded by Hao Tian, a boundless killing intent uncontrollably emerged. Hiss, this person, feeling the boundless killing intent, Hua Yuyin was stunned. This kind of killing intent, even from her father and the clan leaders of the various large clans, but now she felt it from an emperor god cultivator. What's going on between you and Hao Tian? You're from the divine world, and he's from the holy world. Logically speaking, you two shouldn't have any contact. Of course, at least not now. Hearing Hua Yuin's question, Lin Rei didn't hide anything and immediately told her the story of how he saved Xia Feng. After a few minutes, after listening to Lin Rei's story, Hua Yuyin was stunned on the spot. Her expression was filled with disbelief. The master of the Phoenix clan? I didn't expect him to still be alive. She knew about the Phoenix clan. After all, they were both in the holy world, and the Phoenix clan was a ruling existence in the early days of the Eldritch era. Alright, quickly tell me, what's Hao Tian's cultivation level now, and how powerful is the heavenly court? At this moment, hearing the question, Hua Yuyin didn't hide anything and told him everything she knew. The heavenly court is a colossal existence in the holy world. Although it's not the strongest, it's not easy to provoke it. As for the heavenly emperor Hao Tian, I really don't know what cultivation level he's at. However, I know that he hasn't reached the Tao integration stage. As for the power of the heavenly court, if my Hua clan can use everything we have, we might be able to completely uproot the heavenly court from the holy world. At this moment, when talking about the Hua clan, Hua Yuyin couldn't help but show an arrogant expression. Alright. You didn't say anything at all. At this moment, Lin Rei no longer prayed that Hua Yuyin could tell him the cultivation level of the various forces in the holy world, because she didn't know. Seeing that she was useless, he waved his hand and broke the array around them. Chu Ci, let's go. Alright. Chu Ci, who had been waiting, responded immediately when she heard Lin Rei's words. She followed behind Lin Rei and was about to leave. However, just as he reached the door, he thought of the 9 revolutions mixed energy pill that he had refined. He turned his head and said to Hua Yuyin, although I didn't get the answer I wanted from you, I still have to thank you. Swoosh, after saying that, Lin Rei waved his hand and a ray of light instantly shot out and landed in front of Hua Yuyin. A 9 revolutions mixed energy pill with 10 pill patterns landed in the air and floated there. Heh! How interesting. Looking at the pill and looking at the door and Lin Rei who had left, Hua Yuan smiled and reached out her hand to grab the pill. In a flash, she left the alchemy guild. At this moment, before the crowd could react, Lin Rei, Hua Yuan, and Chu Xi had disappeared in front of their eyes. As for Zhuge He, when Linli was about to leave, he came back to his senses and followed closely behind. A farce for Lin Rei ended happily just like that. Seeing that the 3 most important people had left, it was useless for the crowd to stay. In the end, they all left separately. As the saying goes, everyone should go back to their own homes and find their own mothers. I was so focused on hurrying back that I forgot about fellow Daoist Zhuge. Fellow Daoist Lin, you must be joking. Seeing Lin Rei's reaction, Zhuge He hurriedly stopped him and said, I'm sorry to disturb you, fellow Daoist Lin. Alright, let's not stand on ceremony. Let's hurry back. It's not that easy to refine supreme grade spiritual energy, alright. The 2 of them looked at each other and nodded. Then, they sped up and headed back to their residence. On the way, when he was bored to death, Lin Rei asked Zhuge He about the type of weapon he needed. By the way, fellow Daoist Zhuge, what kind of weapon do you like and what do you need? Since you have nothing to do, why don't you tell me about it? Hearing this, Zhuge He's eyes lit up. Then, he told Su Mo about the type of weapon he wanted. I like a sword, 2 fingers wide and 1.5 feet long. It would be best if it's a soft sword. Oh. Hearing Zhuge He's request, Lin Rei was slightly surprised. He had never refined a soft sword before. Moreover, from what he knew, soft swords were usually used by women because it was easy to hide. Moreover, it was very useful for assassinations. Hearing that Zhuge He wanted to use such a weapon, Lin Rei was slightly puzzled. He did not understand why a man would use such a weapon. He had underestimated him. To be honest, the soft sword I mentioned is actually for my daughter to use. She has liked soft swords since she was young and she likes the art of assassination, so. Zhuge He said embarrassedly. Oh. Hearing this, Linli finally understood that he had been mistaken. This was what was going on. Alright, I'll refine it for you. After saying that, Lin Rei did not say anything else. Since he had confirmed that it was a supreme-grade divine weapon, it would be easy to handle. After a while, the group returned to their residence. Just as Lin Rei returned to his residence, Xia Feng walked out of her room. You're back. Looking at Lin Rei, Xia Feng said indifferently. Lin Rei nodded and said to Xia Feng, well, release the woman I caught the other day. I'll refine a supreme-grade divine weapon. After saying that, Lin Rei went back to his room. The evil phoenix, upon hearing Linli's words, felt very unhappy, but in its heart, it still did as it was told. She turned around and went back to her room. When she came out, there was a woman beside her. It was Zhuge Mingyue. Mingyue. At this moment, Zhuge He noticed the woman behind Xia Feng. At first glance, who else could it be but his daughter? Father? Zhuge Mingyue, who had just stepped out of the room, was complaining in her heart when she heard a familiar voice. She immediately looked up and saw her father, Zhuge He. Immediately, she ran to his side excitedly and hung herself on him. At this moment, Zhuge Mingyue, who was lying in her father's arms, thought of Lin Rei and said cutely, Father, I was bullied. That person kidnapped me and tied me up for a long time. Oh, who dares to touch me, Zhuge? Just as Zhuge He was about to say something, he remembered that his daughter seemed to have been released by Linli. For a moment, the aura that he had just built up was like a deflated balloon at this moment, falling limp. Sensing that something was wrong with her father, Zhuge Mingyue jumped down. When she saw her father's helpless expression, she knew that there was something fishy going on. Father, what's going on? Sigh. Looking at his daughter, Zhuge He said helplessly, Mingyue, it's not that I don't want to avenge you. It's just that we can't touch that person. Not to mention your father, even your grandfather wouldn't be able to touch the person who kidnapped you. What? Zhuge Mingyue was shocked. She knew that her grandfather was an expert in the early ultimate god realm. However, her father said that he was no match for Lin Rei. How could she not be shocked? Yes, we can't afford to offend this person. Moreover, he's helping me to forge a supreme-grade sacred weapon. Tell me, how can we touch such a person? Moreover, just now, he used his identity as an honorable grade alchemist to compete with another honorable grade alchemist in the alchemy conference. He won in the end. Moreover, according to my observation, he knows how to use formations. If I'm not wrong, the level of his formations is probably similar to the level of his weapon forging and pill refining. Hiss, at this moment, when she heard that Lin Rei had so many shocking skills, she couldn't help but click her tongue. If he's really that good, not to mention the sword sect, even you guys won't be his match. At this moment, her desire to seek revenge completely disappeared because it was impossible. She probably wouldn't be able to do it in this lifetime. At this moment, in his room, Linley took out his trump card. From his storage ring, he took out some top-grade equipment. Finally, from his storage ring, he took out a piece of violet gold soft iron. Linley had been reluctant to use this item. He did not expect that because of a promise, he would use it now. Coincidentally, Zhuge He wanted to use the software and the purple gold soft iron was suitable to forge a soft sword. Therefore, in the end, Lin Rei could only reluctantly give it up and forge it. Boom, the illusory spirit blood fire appeared instantly. After all, after forging the divine artifact, he had to go into seclusion to treat his eyes. That was the most important thing. Whoosh. Lin Rei controlled the purple gold soft iron and instantly threw it into the illusory spirit blood fire to smelt it. Puff, the moment the purple gold soft iron entered the illusory spirit blood fire, it showed signs of melting. This was the difference between the purple gold soft iron and the purple gold meteoric iron. The purple gold soft iron was particularly good at melting, while the purple gold soft iron was very easy to melt. However, the two iron ores were indeed of the same level. However, if it were an ordinary person, they would choose the purple gold meteoric iron instead of the purple gold soft iron because the soft iron was not very useful. However, the purple gold meteoric iron was different because it could enhance the offensive power of the divine artifact. After watching the purple gold soft iron melt little by little, Lin Rei took out a mass of purple molten iron and put it in a special container. Oh, the master has melted. Let's go crazy. The purple gold soft iron was the backbone of the software. Now that the backbone had been refined, the rest would be easy. Whoosh. 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 At this moment, more than 20 iron ores on the ground were all thrown into the illusory spirit blood fire by Lin Rei and began to melt. At this moment, Lin Rei used all his strength. The temperature of the illusory spirit blood fire was getting hotter and hotter, so much so that the whole house was about to collapse. My cultivation is still too low. As for the strange state of the house, Linley blamed it all on his low level of cultivation. If anyone else heard this, they would definitely be so angry that they would chase him down with a machete and hack him down the streets. In just a short period of 2,000 to 3,000 years, an ordinary person like you had cultivated to the Emperor God realm. Even the heavens' pride in the holy world would not be able to compare with this cultivation speed. Even so, Lin Rei still felt that his cultivation was too low. This was really not leaving him any way out. Time passed by slowly. In the blink of an eye, a day had passed. The iron ores in the fire showed signs of melting. Seeing this, Lin Rei smiled. Hee, it's finally melted. As long as it melts, it will be soon. After saying that, the fire became stronger. Kong, at this moment, outside the room, Zhuge He was still waiting. He did not dare to take half a step away. After all, this was for him. Sigh, It would be great if such a genius could be my son-in-law. That's enough. Thinking of this, Zhuge He could not help but smile at Xie Feng. Then, a disappointed expression appeared on his face. The alchemy conference was completely disbanded. When the sects returned to their own sects, they spread the news of what happened at the alchemy conference. Some people even added oil to the fire. Suddenly, the hottest topic in the inner layer of the divine world was the alchemy competition between Lin Rei and another mysterious woman. Whether it was eating, strolling on the streets, or going to the martial arts arena, everyone was talking about Lin Rei. Suddenly, Lin Rei became the focal point of the entire divine world. Of course, people were not afraid of fame. Pigs were not afraid of being fat. Ever since the news of Lin Rei's strength spread, some people were not convinced. In the end, they gathered in Qiong City to challenge Lin Rei and become famous. Lin Rei, who was refining the divine weapon, did not know about all this. Of course, even if he knew, he would just laugh it off. At the very least, he would kill all those who came to challenge him as a warning to others. At this time, more than 10 days had passed. In the room, Lin Rei, who was sitting cross-legged, smiled. Finally, all of you have turned into molten iron. Looking at the molten iron in the fire, he found a special container and put the molten iron in. Phew, after doing all this, Lin Rei breathed a sigh of relief. However, he immediately tensed up again. After all, the next step was the final refining. Thinking about the style of the divine weapon that Zhuge He wanted, spiritual energy rushed out of his body and formed a sword embryo. This sword embryo was made strictly according to Zhuge He's requirements. Everything was ready except for the east wind. Seeing that the sword embryo was ready, he poured the molten iron into the sword embryo according to the order in his heart. Each and every one of these materials could cause a bloodbath in the divine world. Thinking about it, Lin Rei felt that he had suffered a great loss. However, as a person, honesty was the most important thing. Since he had promised, he had to do it. Watching as the longsword slowly took shape, Lin Li took out some liquid violet gold soft iron, then applied a layer of seal to it. 10,000 hammers smelting heavenly art, merge. With a loud shout, he activated the forging technique. Lin Li's palms clenched into fists, and then one punch after another landed on the longsword within the embryonic form. Peng, peng peng peng, that tapping sound caused Lin Li to feel a hint of joy in his heart. At the same time, Lin Rei could feel that his spiritual energy in other aspects were slowly improving. Following which, a series of knocking sounds reverberated throughout the entire room. Spirit gathering array, merge. In the instant that Lin Li hammered the longsword, one formation after another was imprinted onto the longsword by Lin Li's hammering technique. Divine flame pattern, blade pattern. Chapter 743. One by one, the honorable level formations and runes were fused into the flexible sword by Lin Rei at the fastest speed possible. Of course, even though they were honorable level runes and formations, most of them were small and simple, unlike the Sect protection formation. After all, this was just refining a weapon, and the flexible sword couldn't withstand the support of the startling formation. Time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed. During this period, Lin Rei's mental state had been at its most tense. Moreover, during this period of time, he had been fusing formations, runes, and refining weapons. Even an honorable level cultivator couldn't withstand it. At this moment, Lin Rei's face was pale and his breathing was weak, as if he would faint at any moment. It was worrying. Phew. Soon, feeling that the weapon was about to be completed, Lin Rei was delighted. To be honest, if not counting the worldly splendor, this was his first time refining a supreme-grade weapon in the truest sense of the word. Moreover, he pursued perfection too much. Therefore, it was inevitable that he would expend a lot of energy. Of course, outside, Zhuge He and the rest, including Xie Feng, had been waiting. After not seeing Lin Rei for such a long time, Xie Feng was very anxious. This was the first time that he had taken so long to refine a weapon. Weapon complete. Finally, at this moment, after the last formation was engraved on the flexible sword, the supreme grade weapon was finally completed. Huff huff huff, at this moment, the originally clear sky was blown by a strong wind. Vaguely, everyone could feel a trace of the pressure of heaven and earth in the wind. Although it was very faint, but everyone present was a powerful cultivator. How could they not be able to receive it? Rumble. Rumble. Suddenly, the originally clear blue sky suddenly lost its color. One black cloud after another began to gather from every direction. Finally, with Linley's room at the center, it began to disperse in every direction. The sound of rolling thunder reached everyone's ears at this moment. At the same time, the pressure of heaven and earth instantly pressed down, crushing everyone's bodies. Cultivators below Sir God Fan were all suppressed by the pressure of heaven and earth at this moment without exception. Hiss, at this moment, outside the door, Zhuge Ho could feel the thunderclouds in the sky. Immediately, he looked at Lin Rei's room with a burning gaze. At this moment, combined with the sudden change in the environment and the thunderclouds in the sky, the only thing he could think of was the completion of the divine weapon. The heaven and earth lightning tribulation. Apart from the baptism of the lightning tribulation and tempering oneself, there were also heaven-defying formations, talismans, pills, and heaven-shaking divine artifacts. Looking at the lightning tribulation above his head, apart from Lin Rei's divine tool, he couldn't think of anyone else who could transcend lightning tribulation here, or any other kind of lightning tribulation. Heh. Looks like it's done. At the side, Xia Feng felt the lightning tribulation rolling in the sky and the shocking pressure of heaven and earth. She was not surprised at all. The corner of her mouth curled up slightly, revealing a relieved smile. She said, "This kid always brings surprises." Previously, he was only upgrading the divine tools realm based on the original foundation. Now, he's even refined a supreme divine consciousness. Looks like it won't be long before he can refine a sacred weapon. Sacred weapons are also known as acquired absolute treasures and innate absolute treasures. However, the difference is that innate absolute treasures are created by heaven and earth. They're extremely powerful and carry the power of heaven and earth. Acquired absolute treasures are refined by heaven and earth. Although they're also very powerful, they can only run for their lives if they encounter innate absolute treasures. At this moment, the appearance of the lightning tribulation had alarmed all the powerful cultivators in Cheong City, including the people in charge of guarding the major sections. At this moment, experts from all directions gathered towards the thunderclouds in a frenzy. They were curious about who was undergoing the lightning tribulation here. After all, the 99 heavenly tribulations would only happen when one broke through to the ultimate God realm. Everyone was curious and vigilant at the same time. After all, if a ultimate God appeared in one of the sects, it would be a potential threat to their sections. However, they did not know that this was not the 99 heavenly tribulations, but the supreme divine weapon refined by Lin Rei. Because of its heaven-defying power, the heavens and earth did not allow it to exist. Therefore, the lightning tribulation descended to destroy it. Lin Rei, who was in the room, did not care about what was happening in the outside world. At this moment, Lin Rei stood up and looked at the floating flexible sword with his divine consciousness. It was as thin as a cicada's wing and was extremely soft. The design was exquisite and it was very attractive. At the same time, the suppressive might of the flexible sword, as well as a soul-piercing sword aura, rose into the air. If it hadn't been for the fact that Linley had set up a formation prior to the forging process, most likely the entire room would have been destroyed by the sword aura emanating from the sword. Heh, sensing the terrifying sword chi, even Linley, the person who had forged it, was shocked. This was something he had not expected. He had not expected this weapon to be so powerful. Of course, such a powerful sword chi was not worth mentioning to him. After all, he was not only a cultivator, but also a body cultivator. His body was strong and unparalleled. His body alone was enough to fight against a mid-ultimate god expert. Lin Rei did not care about the sword chi emitted by the long sword. However, at this moment, a few words appeared on the hilt of the sword. Lin Rei knew that he was the one who refined the sword, but he did not leave his name on it. The only thing Lin Li could think of was that this top-grade divine artifact had already gained sentience, and the heavens and the earth itself had been born. When he thought of this, Lin Li felt a surge of excitement. If that was the case, then his sword could be considered as an acquired divine weapon. The 3 words, Purple Qilin Sword, made Lin Rei happy. He could feel the excitement coming out of the sword. He could feel the excitement of the heavens' retribution outside. All right. Since you want to go through the heavens' retribution yourself, then go ahead. Let me see how powerful your Purple Qilin sword is. Lin Rei understood the meaning of the long sword. He did not stop it and immediately agreed. With a wave of his hand, he removed the formation that was protecting the room. Whoosh! The moment the formation was removed, the Purple Qilin sword could not help but break through the room and soar into the sky. At this moment, the people who were waiting outside naturally saw the purple light that rushed out of the room. However, the speed of the purple light was too fast, and no one saw it clearly. However, when the purple light rushed into the air and stopped in midair, everyone was shocked. This was because it was not a person standing in midair, but a long sword. At the same time, because Lin Rei's formation was no longer controlling it, the shocking sword chi rushed out of the sword and towards the thunderclouds in the sky. This was a provocation, a blatant provocation. It was as if it was saying, hit me, hit me. Feeling the shocking sword chi, everyone was shocked. However, they also knew that this was an item without an owner. This was because an item that could go through the heavens' retribution must have just been made. The owner had not had time to make it. At this moment, when Zhuge Ho saw the long sword in the sky, his breathing quickened and his eyes were filled with shock. Supreme divine weapon, it's really a supreme divine weapon. At this moment, he believed. He was completely convinced by Lin Rei. Before he had seen the long sword, he had been suspicious and curious as to whether or not Lin Li would be able to forge a top-grade divine artifact. But now, he was completely convinced. At the same time, their respect for Lin Li was as endless as the waters of the Yellow River. Their admiration for Lin Li was indescribable. Gotcha! At this moment, the heavens' retribution felt the provocation of the long sword and was instantly enraged. It originally wanted to destroy the long sword, but now that it was provoking it, the heavens' retribution could not ignore it. Suddenly, a lightning whip as thick as an arm rushed towards the Purple Qilin sword. It was extremely fast and powerful. At this moment, everyone was filled with worry. This was because everyone thought that when a divine weapon went through the heavens' retribution, there would usually be a weapon refiner by its side to help it through the heavens' retribution. But now, everyone only saw the long sword and did not see the weapon refiner. This made everyone worried. At the same time, they felt sorry for the divine weapon that was resisting the heavens' retribution. Of course, this included Zhuge Ho. He wanted to rush up to help the sword, but he knew that if he did, the heavens' retribution would increase by several times. This way, the long sword would be in even more danger. In the end, his impulse was suppressed. He could only stay on the ground and look at the long sword in the sky while praying silently in his heart. Whoosh! Just as the lightning whip was about to collide with the long sword, the crowd could not bear to watch and instinctively closed their eyes. At this moment, they felt the power of the lightning whip. The Purple Qilin sword trembled and a shocking sword aura rushed out. Finally, the sword aura turned into a gigantic sword and collided with the lightning whip. Gotcha! A strange sound was heard. The moment the gigantic sword aura collided with the lightning whip did not resist at all and instantly shattered into pieces. Then, it dissipated into the air. Ah, good. Strong indeed. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was in the room, spied on the situation in the sky through the giant hole above his head. When he saw that Lin Rei's first heaven's retribution was easily blocked by the Purple Qilin sword, he was relieved. After all, a divine weapon's retribution was not like a cultivator's retribution. A divine weapon's retribution only had 4 bolts of retribution, but a supreme god's retribution had 81 bolts of retribution. That was no joke. If one was not careful, the final result would be a body smashed to pieces and not even a corpse would be left behind. Even if one's soul could enter the cycle of reincarnation. No, it could not be guaranteed that one's soul would remain in this world. When he saw the gigantic sword aura emitted by the purple Qilin sword, he knew that this level of heaven's retribution was useless against it. Relieved, Linley straightened out his clothes, then opened the door and walked out. However, the divine weapon that was refined this time is very strong. It can fight on its own and even release such a terrifying sword aura. TSK. Kid, you've improved on the path of craftsmanship. Linley didn't know where he had come from, but as soon as he stepped out of his room, a red-robed demonic phoenix appeared in front of him and spoke out in praise. Why don't you take a look at who refined it? Lin Rei was already used to Xia Feng's appearance. After all, her appearance was similar to that of the little dragon. Therefore, Lin Rei was not too surprised. Tisk, cocky fart, seeing Lin Rei's narcissism, Xia Feng rolled her eyes at him and let him understand the meaning behind her words. Boom. Gotcha. Just as Lin Rei and Xia Feng finished their conversation, the lightning whip appeared again. However, this time, it was 3 to 4 times stronger than before. It was as thick as Lin Rei's waist. Wang, feeling the power of the heaven's retribution, the purple Qilin sword shook and a gigantic sword aura appeared. Whoosh! At this moment, without waiting for the heaven's retribution to act, the gigantic sword aura moved first. The gigantic sword aura disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. When it reappeared, it was right in front of the heaven's retribution. Then, without hesitation, it pierced the heaven's retribution towards the heaven's retribution without any hesitation. Gotcha. Gotcha, the same scene happened again. The second heaven's retribution was dispersed by the gigantic sword. However, the gigantic sword did not disappear because of the disappearance of the second heaven's retribution. Instead, its aura disappeared and it rushed towards the heaven's retribution. At the same time, Lin Rei felt the purple Qilin sword's actions. Instantly, his face changed and he knew something was wrong. If it was a normal heaven's retribution, it would be fine. However, if the sword aura rushed into the heaven's retribution and caused the heaven's retribution to dissipate prematurely, what awaited was an even more terrifying heaven's retribution. Thinking of this, Lin Rei did not stop. In the next moment, his body disappeared from the spot. At this moment, he knew the purple Qilin sword's intention. Immediately, he rushed towards the sky at his fastest speed, wanting to stop it. But, it seemed like it was too late. The gigantic sword aura rushed towards the heaven's retribution. Suddenly, rays of purple light came down from the heaven's retribution. Boom, *CK, shit. Feeling the heaven's retribution disappear, he knew that it was too late. Thinking of the powerful heaven's retribution, Lin Rei felt helpless. He did not expect the sword to act so recklessly. But at the same time, he was shocked by the sword's recklessness. One had to know that a legendary weapon could not fight on its own, let alone disperse the heaven's retribution. With pride in his heart, Lin Rei sensed that the heaven's retribution was dispersing. Immediately, he appeared in front of the purple Qilin sword in a flash and grabbed it in his hand. Then, he turned around and rushed towards Xia Feng. Sigh. What a troublemaker. It's fine if he's a troublemaker, but I didn't expect that the legendary weapon he created would be so troublesome as well. Looking at Lin Rei flying towards her, she understood what he meant. She smiled helplessly and disappeared. When she reappeared, she was already in front of Lin Rei. Looking at him, Xia Feng rolled her eyes and said, "If you create such a reckless weapon again, I can destroy it without the heaven's retribution." Whoosh! With that, Xia Feng disappeared in front of Lin Rei again. At this time, hearing Xia Feng's words, Lin Rei shrugged his shoulders and flew towards the ground. Sure enough, the moment Lin Rei landed safely on the ground, the dissipating heaven's retribution gathered again. But the difference was that the heaven's retribution was blood-red. Rumble. Chapter 744. Oh my God, that's hell of blood. At this moment, all the cultivators in Xiong City, including the ordinary people, could feel the powerful and evil aura from the sky. The evil aura was on a completely different level from the black lightning tribulation. The previous lightning tribulation would at most immobilize the cultivators, but this hell of blood was the most terrifying one among all the tribulation clouds. The hell of blood was a weapon tribulation. Only a heaven-defying weapon could attract such a lightning tribulation. Not only could it destroy the weapon, but it could also corrode the person who made it. Although the person who was suppressed by it would not be directly hit by the lightning tribulation, their body and subsequent cultivation would be damaged to a certain extent. This hell of blood was something that all weapon refiners, cultivators, and even body cultivators did not want to encounter. It was because of its tyrannical, evil, and plundering power that no one could tolerate. Even so, it was enough to prove that the weapon used to pass the tribulation was beyond the immortal state. Otherwise, it would not be able to summon such a lightning tribulation. At the same time, how could some greedy people not be tempted by such a treasure? At this moment, all the cultivators who came from all directions within a radius of 1,000 feet all looked at the purple Qilin sword in Lin Rei's hand. Their eyes were filled with greed and viciousness. At this moment, everyone was tempted by greed. They wanted to get the sword. At the same time, the rogue cultivators, demonic cultivators, body cultivators, demons, and even the dwarves who prided themselves on refining weapons were all tempted by the sword. No matter who got the sword, it would not take long for them to be able to ignore the top supreme gods in the realm of the gods. They wanted it because they had just become the rulers of this realm. At the same time, Lin Rei did not expect that the supreme-grade sacred weapon he made would cause such a consequence. At the same time, he was proud of his crafting skills. At the same time, he fantasized in his heart, Tisk, if everyone in the Xuanzong sect were to use this kind of divine weapon, the power would be unimaginable. Of course, this was only Lin Rei's fantasy. After all, it would take such a long time to refine a single sword. If 30 or 40,000 people were to use such a divine weapon, it would take hundreds or thousands of years to refine. He couldn't afford such a price, nor did he want to bear it. After all, the current sect master of the Xuanzong sect was him. Coming back to his senses, Lin Rei could sense the vicious and greedy gazes from thousands of feet away. His originally smiling face suddenly turned cold. He had been happy that he had managed to forge such a weapon, but now, there were these people who didn't want to play and came to cause trouble. Chapter 746. In the system, Lin Rei came to the front of the little dragon excitedly and sat down. Come on. You're quite impatient, aren't you? Looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon said with a smile. Upon hearing his words, Lin Rei gave him a helpless look. Aren't you talking nonsense? I haven't used my eyes for such a long time. It's you. Aren't you excited? Really? That's true. The little dragon blushed with shame. All right, let's begin. I can't wait any longer. After saying that, Lin Rei took out the Tendo's eye. Using his spiritual energy as a hand, he dragged the Tendo's eye and handed it to the little dragon. At this moment, he had already closed his eyes and was waiting for his eyes to return to normal. Sigh. All right. Since you're so anxious, I'll go all out. Looking at Lin Rei's expectant and excited face, the little dragon sighed inwardly. Then, he took the Tendo's eye and began to repair Lin Rei's eyes. In the deepest part of the ancient corpse trove, a young man dressed in a gorgeous brocade robe stood on top of a towering mountain peak. His eyes were filled with anticipation as he looked into the distance with a charming smile on his lips. However, this smile wasn't just charming on the surface. Instead, it was extremely strange and sinister, the kind that made one's hair stand on end. Finally, the restriction of the ancient corpse trove is about to be lifted. I'm finally going to be free. For millions of years, I've been locked in this forbidden land and suffered the coldness and cruelty of this place. Finally, the bitterness is over and the sweetness is about to come. What a pity. At this moment, the man's face was filled with disappointment, decline, and loneliness, giving off a feeling of loneliness. Millions of years have passed. Little sister, little brother, I don't know if you're still alive. I miss you so much. The crystal clear teardrop flowed out of the man's eyes. It was filled with anticipation, longing, and sadness. He knew that millions of years had passed. How could his younger siblings still be alive? Unless their cultivation was heaven-defying, it was impossible for them to have such a powerful life force and lifespan. However, in the depths of his heart, there was still a trace of expectation and hope. After all, the affairs of the world were unpredictable. There were all kinds of strange things in the boundless universe. What if they cultivated? What if they became cultivators and cultivated to the point where it was a pity that they had to endure the restrictions of millions of years? All of this was still unknown, but the man's expectations were so low. Sigh. Little sister, little brother, if I had known that I would die here and accidentally become the master of this ancient corpse trove, I definitely wouldn't have come. This man wearing a gorgeous brocade robe was the master of the ancient corpse trove, Gu Feng. However, there was always a trace of hope in his heart. That was because he did not want to believe that his younger siblings had already passed away. Just like this, because he was unable to leave, he stayed here. Furthermore, he went deeper, deeper, and deeper, and deeper, defeating the experts of the ancient corpse trove step by step. 1,000 years later, he became the king of the ancient corpse trove. Furthermore, he had cultivated a rare corpse core. In the past, there would also be some people who would recklessly come to the ancient corpse trove. Thus, in order to leave, Gu Feng, who wanted to leave, spread a rumor that as long as he could obtain the corpse core of a corpse king, he would be able to increase his cultivation. In fact, he might even be able to break through the deity realm and reach the saint realm. Cultivators love to hear such words and treasures the most. Sure enough, when this news spread, the entire deity realm was shaken. In the end, every few hundred years or even 1,000 years, there would be a group of people who would enter the ancient corpse trove. In the end, they would all be cruelly killed by Gu Feng. When they were 7,000 years old, Gu Feng would obtain the information he wanted to know. Then, he would cruelly kill them without any trace of emotion. After all, he was someone who had already died once. Although he was alive now, he did not have a heartbeat or a pulse. He only had the ability to stand up and walk, as well as think. This time around, it was the opening of the hidden ground that happened only once in 1,000 years. However, to Gu Feng's excitement, he felt that the spirit formation sealing him was slowly disappearing. Regarding this, he was very excited. He wanted to leave. He wanted to verify whether his relatives had truly left. Plop. At this moment, a man suddenly appeared. With a respectful expression, he stood in front of Gu Feng and asked, reporting to the Zong master, "This time, are we going to kill all the people who come here as usual?" Yes. After coming back to his senses and hearing his subordinate's question, Gu Feng fell into deep thought. He had not thought about this question. He only wanted to leave as soon as possible and had forgotten about this matter. A few minutes later, Gu Feng came back to his senses. He turned to look at the man kneeling on the ground and said, "Just like in the past, kill all the people who come here. Leave none alive. However, in the future, you don't need to bring those people to me. You guys can stay here. The blood vessels in their bodies are very powerful. You guys should hurry up and cultivate. Otherwise, when I leave this time, I will not feel at ease leaving such a big mess to you guys." You're leaving? At this moment, the man was shocked. He looked at Gu Feng with a blank expression. He knew about the spirit formation. Back then, he also wanted to go out. Yes, he was impulsive. The only thing it was dissatisfied with was the little dragon. Because this time, he had used up all of his soul energy. After all, he was originally a soul body. Now that his soul energy was used up, he had to return to his training ground and cultivate again. Otherwise, he would not wake up again. As soon as the system finished speaking, Lin Rei let out a long breath of turbid air. His face was filled with ease and comfort. Along with the comfort of his body, his originally closed eyes opened at this moment. Chapter 747. So, a ray of golden light shot out from his eyes and landed on a hill in front of him. Bang! The golden light shot out from Linley's eyes instantly sank into the mountain. Then, with a loud bang, it exploded like a heavenly maiden scattering flowers. The next moment, the golden light in Lin Rei's eyes regained its clarity. The previous dark gray color had completely disappeared. His eyes regained their usual nimbleness and coldness. A smile appeared on Lin Rei's face. Finally, my eyes have recovered. Looking at the colorful space around him, Lin Rei's face was filled with excitement. It was just that his eyes did not match his face at all. His face was full of smiles. It was like flowers blooming in spring, giving others a warm feeling. Looking at his eyes, they were cold and emotionless. It gave others a feeling of goosebumps. If one looked at them enough, they would feel as if they had fallen into ice. The moment Lin Rei felt the colors around him, a strange feeling came from his body. After checking it out, Lin Rei felt excited. TSK, who would have thought that this Tendozai would contain such a huge amount of energy? After 20 years of closed-door cultivation, it allowed me to advance from the middle stage to the peak of the late stage. If a few more come, won't I only need 100 years to advance to the sacred world? Of course, he could only think about it. He did not believe that the Tendozai was as common as cabbages on the streets. One had to know that this was the Tendozai. It was already a blessing from the heavens to have one. This kind of opportunity could not be forced. To be able to regain his clarity, he had nothing else to ask for. Feeling the energy in his body, Lin Rei was filled with excitement. After all, the system had promised him that as long as he could reach the late stage of the God Emperor realm, it would give him a spatial technique. This was something that Lin Rei had been thinking about all these years. Now that he had finally broken through to the late stage of the God Emperor realm, how could he not be excited? As he thought about this, Linley didn't waste any more time. Raising his head, he stared at the sky and said, "System, now that I've reached the level you spoke of, shouldn't you tell me about that secret technique?" Silence. After Lin Rei finished speaking, the space was silent. It was as if the system did not hear him. Seeing this, Linley's face twitched, and he rolled his eyes. Tirelessly, he opened his mouth again and said, "System, you are an omnipotent existence. Tell me, an existence like you wouldn't want to renege on my secret technique, right?" At this moment, Lin Rei used his cultivation, even though he knew it was useless. However, what he did not expect was that after he finished speaking the second time, a few breaths later, the originally quiet space was finally broken by the system's voice. "You little rascal." The system laughed and scolded, "Can you not be so greedy? Opening up a secret space, although it's not a top-notch existence, it's still very impressive. Can't you let me slow down? My heart would ache if I gave you something so good." At this moment, Lin Rei was speechless. However, he did not disturb the sadness of the system. Instead, he quietly waited for the system to give him the secret technique. Anyway, when Lin Rei felt that he had broken through to the late stage of the God Emperor realm, he decided that he would not give up until he got the secret technique. 10 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hours, after a very long time, until Lin Rei did not know how long, the silent system finally spoke, "You brat, I really admire you." Towards Lin Rei, the system was helpless. "All right, you can go out first. I have to find that secret technique for you. After you come out from the ancient corpse vault, I'll give it to you, okay?" Hearing the words of the system, Lin Rei fell into deep thought. Logically speaking, he would not agree to such a thing, but when he thought of the possibility that the ancient corpse vault had opened, he felt a sense of urgency. After all, he was aiming for the corpse core this time, and the corpse core was related to his life. Therefore, he could not help but be nervous. Thinking of this, Lin Rei agreed, "All right, since it's like this, I promise you. But when the time comes, don't act shamelessly like today. Just pretend that you didn't hear me." I won't. Also, I really didn't hear you just now. I'll be a fool if I believe you." These words could only fool a 3-year-old child. To deal with him, it was simply treating him as a retard. "All right, I won't argue with you anymore. I'd better go out quickly. I don't know how the ancient corpse vault is now, and whether those sects have entered the ancient corpse vault." After saying that, Lin Rei decided to go out. However, just before he left, Lin Rei could not help but turn his head and look at a mound of dirt in the depths of the space. This mound of dirt was the place where the little dragon recovered. "Don't worry, little dragon. After I return from the ancient corpse vault, I will search the entire celestial realm for you. I will also find elixirs that can increase your soul power and replenish your soul power." After saying that, he looked at the mound of dirt again. Then, with a thought, he instantly disappeared from the system. He returned to the room where he went into seclusion. Phew, returning to reality, Lin Rei looked around and saw that nothing had changed. He let out a long sigh of relief, and his face was full of smiles. Finally, I'm finally out. Ancient corpse vault, wait for my arrival." After saying that, he got out of bed and tidied up his messy clothes. His face was full of warmth, and then he pushed the door open and walked out. "You came out at noon." The sudden voice made Lin Rei, who was walking, stop in his tracks. His face was full of shock. "Damn, it can't be." At this moment, Lin Rei, who was frozen in place, heard the voice of the girl just now. Suddenly, a girl's figure appeared in his mind. At this moment, a girl floated down from the roof and came in front of Lin Rei with a face full of resentment. She pointed at his nose and said, "You're finally out. Do you know that I've been waiting for you here for more than 20 years? In these 20 years, I couldn't do anything. I was just afraid that you would suddenly leave. In these 20 years, I ate and slept in the open. What about you? You were comfortably in seclusion. Tell me, how are you going to compensate me?" At this moment, the one who spoke was not someone else. It was Hua Yuan, who came to seek the 9 revolution mixed energy pill before Lin Rei went into seclusion. Looking at Hua Yuan's face, Lin Rei smiled helplessly and bitterly. He did not expect Hua Yuan to still be so persistent. However, he did not plan to give the 9 revolution mixed energy pill to anyone, including Hua Yuan. After all, he was about to reach the Saint Realm. These pills were very useful to him. Thinking about it, Lin Rei quickly shook his head and said, "I can't agree to what you said, Hearing this, Hua Yuan quickly refuted. However, Lin Rei cut her off in the end. "Listen, I don't need anything in exchange, including divine crystals. So, give it up. You." Seeing that Lin Rei was stubborn, Hua Yuan could only use the word delay to bluff her way out. "All right, since you don't want to give it to me, then I won't leave until you give me the pill. During this period, I will follow you until you give me the pill. Otherwise, I will exhaust you to death. Anyway, I need time. I'm not afraid." Speechless, Lin Rei did not say anything to Hua Yuan. Since she was willing to follow him, then let her follow him. Anyway, he would be going to the ancient corpse vault soon. With her around, she might be a good assistant. Thinking about this, Lin Rei smiled and did not say anything. Instead, he walked towards Xia Feng's room. After all, only Xia Feng was following him. Of course, he had to inform her about the recovery of his eyes. Their rooms were not very far away. In a few minutes, they arrived at Xia Feng's room. Knock knock knock. A series of knocks came into the room. In the room, when Xia Feng was cultivating, she suddenly heard a series of knocks on the door. In an instant, she frowned and her face was filled with coldness. Bastard, I am cultivating. Don't you know how to write the word death by disturbing me? Carrying a huge amount of pressure in cultivation, she rushed out of her body and rushed towards the door. Boom! Lin Rei, who was full of anticipation, suddenly heard a roar and a terrifying pressure coming from the room. He was shocked and his face was filled with astonishment. TSK. She is indeed in the sage realm. Even though I have broken through a small level, I did not expect it to be so difficult to deal with her pressure. It seems that I am still not strong enough. At this moment, feeling the intention of Xia Feng's pressure, Lin Rei smiled and transmitted his voice, "Come out, I am out." Lin Rei transmitted his voice in her mind. After hearing it, Xia Feng was stunned. Then, a smile appeared on her cold face. This brat, with a smile, he retracted his pressure and took a step forward. In the next moment, he arrived at the door and opened it. Suddenly, Lin Rei's figure appeared when the door was opened. At this moment, Xia Feng was paying attention to Lin Rei's eyes. Your eyes have recovered? Hee, it is obvious. Saying that, he could not help but roll his eyes. PFFF, facing Lin Rei's mischievousness, Xia Feng did not give him any face and laughed. After all, she knew Lin Rei's character. Alright, come in. Saying that, she removed her hand from the door and opened a path for Lin Rei to enter. I don't think I invited you. At this moment, Hua Yuan, who swore to follow Lin Rei, saw Lin Rei enter and wanted to follow him. However, the moment she stepped into the door, Xia Feng was dissatisfied. At this moment, Hua Yuan wanted to fly into a rage. But when she thought of that terrifying pressure, she immediately calmed down. In the end, she could only helplessly retract her foot. After that, she stood at the door unwillingly. At least you are sensible. Seeing that Hua Yuan was sensible, Xia Feng snorted and closed the door with a peng sound. At this moment, Lin Rei and Xia Feng were the only ones in the room. But the two of them did not speak. The atmosphere became stiff. Under the awkward atmosphere, Lin Rei finally showed his gentlemanly side and took the initiative to speak. This time, I have broken through to the late-stage God-Emperor realm after coming out of seclusion. Furthermore, I have recovered my eyes. Therefore, I wish to set off for the ancient corpse depository tomorrow. Saying that, Lin Rei could not help but look at Xia Feng. He wanted her to agree. Do you agree? I agree. Clean and crisp. After hearing Lin Rei's words, Xia Feng did not hesitate and directly agreed. Didn't I say before? Even if you don't allow me to go to the ancient corpse depository, I will still return. After all, I am still waiting for you to follow me to the sacred world to take revenge on Hao Tian. Hearing this, Lin Rei shrugged helplessly. All right, since you agree, then it's decided. Tomorrow, we will set off for the ancient corpse depository. Xia Feng nodded in agreement. However, thinking of that woman, Xia Feng could not help but ask, I am very curious. Why are there so many women around you? Furthermore, that woman outside is not simple. Oh. Not simple? Why is it not simple? Hearing her words, Lin Rei could not help but be shocked. TSK, I can feel the aura of the sacred world from her body. It's like this person has been living in the sacred world since she was young. Ha. Hearing this, Lin Rei laughed. Your guess is quite accurate. She is really from the sacred world? Previously, it was Lin Rei who was surprised, but now it was Xia Feng who was surprised. Although she could feel the aura of the sacred world from the girl's body, she could only feel a trace of it. But now, her identity as a person from the sacred world had been confirmed. That's right. She is from the sacred world, the Baron states Miss Hua. Xia Feng did not hide anything from Hua Yuan and directly revealed Hua Yuan's identity. N. At this moment, Lin Rei nodded and immediately told her how he met Hua Yuan and what happened after that without missing a single word. After a few minutes, Lin Rei finally opened his eyes and sighed. He said with a helpless expression, "Tell me, is there such a person?" She insisted on asking me for pills. If I didn't give them, she would stick to me. But later, I thought it through. Since she is willing to follow me, then let her follow me. After all, we have to enter the ancient corpse trove later. Make sure that her cultivation is at the great perfection late-stage God-Emperor realm. Although Lin Rei was talking, Xia Feng did not have the mood to listen to Lin Rei at this moment. At this moment, Xia Feng's eyes were shining. She stretched out her hand in front of Lin Rei and said, "Come, 9 revolution mixed energy pills. Such a good thing. Why didn't you give me some in the past? Really, you are not a good friend." Seeing Xia Feng's excitement, Lin Rei suddenly had the urge to continue talking. "Damn, you can't be. You are so stingy." Chapter 748. At this moment, Lin Rei didn't know what to say. He didn't seem to have said anything just now, but now he was being blamed. "Lin Rei, here, 10 revolutions mixed yuan pills." Without waiting for Xia Feng to speak again, Lin Rei took out 10 revolutions mixed yuan pills from the system and handed them to her. Although Lin Rei's face was calm and no expression could be seen, his heart began to bleed at this moment. After all, refining the 9 revolutions mixed yuan pills was 1 in a million. It was the best and could be casually taken out. It was enough to make the Sect's fight to the death. He had forgotten before that Xia Feng was in the sage realm, so it was suitable for her to take the 9 revolutions mixed yuan pills. If he could remember this before, he was afraid that he would have mentioned the 9 revolutions mixed yuan pills. Only 10? At this moment, looking at the pills in front of her, Xia Feng's interest was instantly wiped out. She thought that there would be a lot more. What? Only 10? Originally, he was reluctant to part with the pills because of his heartache. Now, because of the small number, he was despised. For a moment, Lin Rei was even more speechless. "Yes, just 10. Take it or leave it. It's good that you don't. When I reach the holy world, I'll eat it myself." With that, Lin Rei was about to withdraw his hand. But at this moment, Xia Feng immediately said, "Don't, I want it. I want it, okay?" With that, Xia Feng directly snatched the 9 revolutions mixed yuan pills from Lin Rei's hand. "It's a waste if you don't want it. Anyway, there's only so much now. Every little bit of improvement is a little bit. What do you want me to say to you?" Looking at Xia Feng's resigned look, Lin Rei suddenly became angry. "Well, now that the pills have been given to you, we'll prepare to leave tomorrow and go to the ancient corpse trove." "Alright, got it." Xia Feng could no longer listen to Lin Rei's words. Now that she had obtained the 9 revolution mixed yuan elixir, the only thing she wanted to do was quickly increase her cultivation. After all, he hadn't improved his cultivation base for tens of billions of years. He had to make up for the lost time as soon as possible. Otherwise, after entering the holy world, if she was not strong enough, it would be useless. Even if she faced Hao Tian, she would only be at his mercy. Of course, if time could go back, when she was still the Phoenix ancestor, she should have rushed to Hongjun and killed Hao Tian. Then, there would be no such thing. Perhaps she was still in the saint's world, living a life of luxury, ruling over the entire Phoenix clan and throwing her weight around in the gods' world. Of course, this was just a thought. How could there be a cycle in the world? Even if there was, it would only happen in a short period of time. It had been hundreds of millions of years since the untainted age. Even if there was a cycle of reincarnation, it would be impossible to return to that time. Alright, since it's settled, I'll go back first. With that, Lin Rei walked out of the room and headed back to his room. At this moment, Hua Yuan was following behind him. At this moment, she was like a security guard. It was as if she was ensuring his safety at all times. Heh, Lin Rei just smiled at Hua Yuan, then he sent a voice transmission to Chu Xi and Yun Kai's room. I've come out of seclusion. Come and see me quickly, huh? Where's the money? He's out. Young master is out. At this moment, the two people in the room woke up when they heard Lin Rei's voice transmission. Their hearts were filled with excitement at the first moment. Swoosh! Immediately, the two of them activated their cultivation base and rushed out of the room, rushing toward Lin Rei's room. It didn't take long for the two of them to reach Lin Rei's room in 2 breaths' time. When the two of them met, their eyes were filled with excitement and adoration. After all, the two of them were engaged. Now that they had been separated for more than 20 years, how could they not be excited? However, before their excitement, Lin Rei's matter was the most important. At the same time, this was what the two of them thought. Knock, knock, knock. At this moment, Chu Xi took the lead. She knocked on the door and opened it. Her movements were light, but the sound was loud. After that, the room was completely silent. There was no movement at all. The two of them were stunned. In fact, what they didn't know was that Lin Rei hadn't returned to his room, and there was no sign of Lin Rei in the room. At this moment, Lin Rei was still on his way back. He didn't expect that his words would make the two of them so excited. They didn't even need to walk, and directly teleported over. Knock, knock, knock. There was another series of knocks on the door. However, the result was the same as before. There was still no sound from the room. Immediately, the two of them stood on both sides of the door in confusion and respectfully, waiting for Lin Rei to open the door. They didn't understand. In less than a minute, just as the two of them were smiling and chatting, Lin Rei walked over from afar. Behind him was Hua Yuan. At this moment, Chu Xi sensed the figure in the distance. Instantly, she became excited. However, when she saw Hua Yuan behind Lin Rei, she was shocked. Hua Yuan? Why is she here? Hua Yuan? Her name is Hua Yuan. At this moment, after hearing her fiancé's words, Yun Kai locked her gaze on the beautiful woman behind Lin Rei. Instantly, her jealousy increased. Is she beautiful in his imagination? Beautiful. At this moment, Chu Xi didn't seem to think before speaking. Even she didn't know why she would say such a thing and answer such a question. However, the moment she finished speaking, the smile on Chu Xi's face turned bitter. Sigh. Looks like it won't be easy in the future. At this moment, Chu Xi was extremely depressed. He didn't think that he would say something like that. However, regarding the topic of Hua Yuan, the moment the two of them saw Lin Li, they stopped talking about it and respectfully greeted him. Chu Xi and Yun Kai greet young master. That's enough. There's no need for such formalities in the future. As he spoke, Lin Rei waved his hand at the two of them. Then, he pushed open the door and walked in. Yes, young master. The two of them, who had never disobeyed Lin Rei's orders, had already responded. However, their responses were always the same as before. Regarding this, Lin Rei was already used to it. After all, no matter if it was in the past, present, or future, everyone would be the same. Previously, after Lin Rei's nurturing, they had already changed. However, next time, everyone would return to their original starting point. Everyone arrived at the room. However, at this moment, an extra person also arrived. Regarding this, Lin Rei signaled to Chu Xi. Chu Xi received Lin Rei's message and nodded her head. She turned around and said to Hua Yuan, "Fellow Hua, this is a conversation between our sections. You don't seem to be part of it. So, could you please leave first?" As soon as she heard this, the originally excited Hua Yuan's face turned cold. She couldn't bear to say anything and left immediately. Bam! After closing the door, at this moment, the room was finally empty. At this moment, looking at the two of them, Lin Rei spoke. This time, I called you here to tell you that I will be heading to the ancient corpse trove tomorrow. What about you? Do you want to follow me or wait here? Of course, this is voluntary. There will be no coercion or threats. If you want to go, then go. If you don't want to go, then stay here. It's your choice. Young master, we will go. As long as you are there, we will be there. Have you thought it through? Seeing them agree without thinking at all, Linley secretly felt a burst of delight. Yes, I have. Chu Xi nodded her head. Good, since that's the case, then it's decided. Tomorrow, we will head to the ancient corpse trove together. However, before that, I would like to verify your cultivation situation. Have you completed the task I gave you? Or rather, how is your progress? Is there any improvement? As expected. Hearing this, Chu Xi thought to herself. However, her face was full of smiles and confidence. Good. Yes, you can. Seeing Chu Xi's confidence, Lin Rei smiled and said, since that's the case, then refine a pill for me that is your limit. But remember, it must be better than the pill refined in the alchemy conference. Until tomorrow morning. If you refine it well, I will reward you. If you don't, I will make you regret it every day for a period of time. At this moment, Chu Xi was speechless. However, he did not give up immediately. Instead, he nodded and agreed. Okay, then young master, I will refine it here. Yes, you can refine it. After saying that, Lin Rei did not pay attention to him. Instead, his gaze fell on Yun Kai. Looking at her, Lin Rei asked, how is it? How is the consolidation of your cultivation? Is the refining of the formation good? Hearing this, Yun Kai's face darkened. Then, she said in a low voice, young master, I am sorry. In the past 20 years, I have only consolidated my cultivation. As for the rest, I did not have time to do it. Oh. After hearing Yun Kai's reply, he released his divine sense and began to check the situation of the spiritual energy in Yun Kai's body. After a few minutes, Lin Rei suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with gratification. You did well. Although you have only consolidated your cultivation in the past 20 years, your foundation and the density of your spiritual energy is so high that even 3 great emperors would be no match for you. Of course, don't be arrogant because of this. You still have a long way to go. So, continue to work hard. After saying that, Lin Rei clenched his fist and raised it slightly. His face was cold as he said, but before that, let me test your true strength. After saying that, Lin Li moved swiftly and decisively. He didn't waste any more words and immediately used the astral finger. Instantly, his sword finger was dyed with a golden color. Like a sharp sword, it carried a terrifying pressure as it shot towards Yun. Its speed was so fast that it completely surpassed Yun's vision and the 5 senses of Linli's divine sense. You've lost. At this moment, before Yun Kai could even react, in the next instant, Yun Kai felt a murderous aura gathering around her throat. Then, a figure walked out from behind her. This person was Lin Li. At this moment, Lin Rei's finger was already at Yun Kai's throat. If it was half an inch closer and he used a little more force, Yun Kai would have died. Young master, Yun Kai panicked. In the face of death, no matter what, even Lin Rei himself would panic. Just now, in order to let Yun Kai experience death, Lin Rei had already released his murderous aura. Now you know why I want you to cultivate. In fact, cultivation is a personal matter. The reason I want you to cultivate is so that you can have the strength to protect yourselves in the divine world. So, work hard. Your talent is not to be underestimated. In the future, purify the spiritual energy in your body. That way, your spiritual energy will be more powerful in the future. Just like me now. With that, Lin Rei withdrew his stellar finger and went to the side without saying anything. At this moment, Yun Kai also chose to remain silent. However, the difference was that after listening to Lin Rei's words, Yun Kai directly sat on the ground and began to comprehend the concept that she had just experienced. The child is worth teaching. Seeing one of them refining pills and the other cultivating, he had nothing to do, so he entered the system. After arriving at the scripture pavilion, he began to search for more powerful battle techniques. Time slowly passed. With Lin Rei's investigation and the others cultivating, the night passed in the blink of an eye. The next morning, Chu Xi, who was refining pills, had already lost her red complexion and was replaced by a pale white color. Wang. A white light instantly shot out of the pill furnace. At this moment, Chu Xi, who was originally tense, completely relaxed. However, because of the excessive spiritual energy and mental energy in the pill furnace, Chu Xi directly fell backward the moment she relaxed her nerves. I finally succeeded in refining. At this moment, although Chu Xi's face was pale, it was full of smiles. You refined it? The moment Chu Xi collapsed, Lin Rei, who had been searching for battle techniques in the scripture pavilion, knew that the next day had arrived. Then, he walked out of the system. Unexpectedly, the moment he did, he sensed that Chu Xi had succeeded in refining the pill. Yes, young master. The pill that I refined can be considered to be a low-grade grandmaster pill, the Vajra pill. Oh. Vajra pill. Hearing the name of the pill that Chu Xi had refined, Lin Rei was stunned. He knew that the Vajra pill could be said to be very difficult to refine. Even a mid-grade grandmaster alchemist might not be able to refine it in a day. Thinking about it, Lin Rei, who was a little skeptical, pointed his right hand at the pill furnace. Suddenly, a suction force appeared. Whoosh! Suddenly, a golden pill rushed out of the pill furnace and landed perfectly in Lin Rei's hand. When he looked at the pill in his hand and saw that it was really the Vajra pill, he knew that Chu Xi had become a grandmaster alchemist. Chapter 749. Lin Rei's eyes were filled with gratification. After all, he was the only venerable grade alchemist in the sect. Everyone else was still growing and couldn't be of much use. But now, they had Chu Xi, an ancestor grade alchemist. Although he was still a primary grade alchemist, his name alone was enough to match 10 emperor grade alchemists. Not bad. He smiled appreciatively and walked over to Chu Xi's side, squatting down. Seeing his weak appearance, Lin Rei sighed inwardly. He's still a little too eager. It seems I'll have to find an opportunity to refine some pills that can increase his spiritual power. Lin Rei took out a recovery pill from his ring and stuffed it into Chu Xi's mouth. He then circulated his spiritual energy and placed his palm on Chu Xi's chest, slowly helping him refine the tyrannical medicinal energy of the pill. Even though he was a middle-stage god emperor, and was indeed a giant in the eyes of others, he was nothing in front of the pills concocted by Lin Li. Whether it was in terms of alchemy or cultivation, he couldn't compare to Lin Rei. At this moment, Yun Kai, who had been cultivating to the side, had already woken up. She was guarding Chu Xi, not leaving his side for even an inch. Looking at Yun Kai, Lin Rei nodded. All right, he's fine now. He'll be fine after eating the pill. Lin Rei withdrew his hand from Chu Xi's chest and stood up. He didn't want to disturb the two and directly walked out. However, when Lin Rei reached the door, he seemed to have thought of something. He stopped and said, "Oh right, when you're done resting, quickly come to the dining room in front. Xie Feng and I will wait for you." With a bang, the door closed and Lin Rei's figure disappeared from the room. At this moment, Yun Kai, who was in the room, carried Chu Xi and placed him on the bed. She then waited for him to wake up. She was also an alchemist, so she knew what it felt like to overexert one's spiritual power. After coming out of the room, Lin Rei walked on the path to eat. The two sides of the path were no longer as damaged by him as before. At this moment, the two sides of the path were filled with colorful jokes. It was very beautiful and moving. On the road, the fragrance of flowers floated in the air. When one smelled it, it gave one a feeling of lingering and forgetting to go back. In addition to the house that he created with his magic, the scene at this moment could be described as a paradise on earth. However, even in this paradise on earth, Lin Rei was helpless. It was not because of anything else, but because when he came out of the room, the little tail behind him followed him again. The person Little Tail was referring to was none other than Hua Yuan. Not for anything else, but for the 9 revolution mixed yuan pellet. Lin Rei felt very helpless about this. He had also tried to persuade her to leave. After all, although he had met her once, there was no interaction between them. Friends? No, not really. Brother. That's not right either. Gender, lover. That's even more wrong. Lin Rei did not love her. The only thing that could make Lin Rei think of was a stranger. Moreover, it was a very annoying stranger. Sensing Hua Yuan behind him, Lin Rei turned around and rolled his eyes at her. His face was full of helplessness. I say, can you not follow me? Look at you. You're a good girl. Why are you following a married man like me? What's going on? Moreover, I've already told you before. I've already given all the 9 revolution mixed yuan pellets to Xia Feng. I really don't have any more now. If you want, you can go and find Xia Feng. Of course, it depends on whether you can beat her or not. Moreover, we're leaving here today and going to the ancient corpse vault. There are many strong cultivators in there, and there are also quite a number of hierarch realm cultivators. Tell me, I don't mind. Hua Yuan interrupted. At this moment, Lin Rei was stunned. Ancient corpse vault? I'm very interested. I heard that it's a place of no return. Who knows, we might be able to find some special divine medicine or even sacred medicine. Don't you think so? As soon as she said that, Lin Rei was instantly defeated. He finally understood the true meaning of the idiom pestering. Hua Yuan, on the other hand, was a person who was made for pestering others. At this moment, Lin Rei no longer asked her to leave. Since she wanted to go to the ancient corpse vault, then let her go. Anyway, once they were inside, it would be fine if she didn't affect him. If she did, he could even kill and bury the corpse. Alright, since you're willing to follow me, then follow me. After saying that, Lin Rei no longer cared about Hua Yuan. Immediately, he turned around and quickened his pace. At this moment, in Xia Feng's room, Xia Feng was sitting on the bed. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly, revealing a charming smile. I'm finally out. After saying that, Xia Feng hurriedly stood up and tidied up her messy clothes. Then, she opened the door and walked out. After that, she walked towards Lin Rei's location. Waiter, bring all the specialties here. Also, bring a few jugs of wine. At this moment, Lin Rei, who had just entered the restaurant, looked at the waiter and ordered. Okay, please wait a moment. After hearing Lin Rei's name, the waiter became excited and hurriedly walked to the back. At this moment, Lin Rei, who had finished ordering, came to an empty table by the window and sat down. He ignored Hua Yuan and sat down. Then, he turned his head towards the window and instantly released his sense of hearing. He began to inquire about the interesting things that happened during this period of time when he was in closed-door cultivation. Dao friend, have you heard? The 7 sects have all moved out. The leaders are all late god emperors. Furthermore, there are rumors that for the opening of the ancient corpse vault, some old undying people have all come out of closed-door cultivation. Their purpose is to obtain the corpse core from the corpse king of the ancient corpse vault. Oh. Is there such a thing? At this moment, this conversation entered Lin Rei's ears. Immediately, Lin Rei's interest was piqued. He listened to their discussion with great interest. Speaking of which, I don't know where the rumor came from. It says that the corpse core can increase one's lifespan, improve one's cultivation, and various other benefits. Look, those old undying people can no longer improve after cultivating to the Tao's sovereign realm. You have to know that it has been hundreds of thousands of years in the divine world to reach the saint realm. And those old undying people's lifespan is about to reach its end. Some of them are already dead, but they insist on using divine medicine to prolong their lives. How can they give up on such a good thing when they hear that it can increase their lifespan? Damn, this, interesting. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was in the restaurant, laughed. His face was full of interest. Why didn't I know that the corpse core can increase one's lifespan? At this moment, Lin Rei was both interested and puzzled. He couldn't understand how the corpse core could be related to lifespan. Nonsense. Isn't this nonsense? Just as Lin Rei was curious and puzzled, the system's angry voice exploded directly in Lin Rei's ears. Oh. What is the function of the corpse core? He knew that the system must know something about it. The corpse core can be a kind of pill called the heavenly corpse core. This kind of pill can control all the people who have swallowed it. Of course, this kind of pill, with your current Dan realm, Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei was speechless. However, out of curiosity, he directly deleted the unpleasant words and began to ask what he was interested in. Besides refining the heavenly corpse core, is there any other use? For example, increasing one's cultivation, or... Don't guess blindly. Before Lin Rei finished speaking, the system directly cut him off. The corpse core has only one use, and that is to refine the heavenly corpse core. It has no other use. Oh, no, it has another use. Oh. What is it? Lin Rei asked excitedly. It is the corpse core. In addition to refining the heavenly corpse core, it can also be used as a poison, and its medicinal effect is very strong. Even you can't cure it. At this moment, Lin Rei did not pay attention to the system's words. At the same time, after listening to the system's words, he knew that the conversation between the two people just now was pure nonsense. There was no such thing at all. However, if there was no such thing, then where did these rumors come from? Was all this too coincidental? The coincidence made Lin Rei feel that someone had arranged this in advance. Interesting, really interesting. Lin Rei muttered. Well? What's interesting? Just as Lin Rei was muttering, Xia Feng's voice suddenly came. After hearing Lin Rei's voice, he quickly came back to his senses. At this moment, Xia Feng had already sat down beside him. Looking at her, Lin Rei told her what he had just learned. A few minutes later, Xia Feng frowned, and her face was full of coldness. Who is doing this? Even I don't know what the corpse core is used for. How could someone spread such a rumor? I don't know, but don't you think that this matter is getting more and more interesting? He said with interest in his voice. Hearing this, Xia Feng was stunned for a moment, then smiled. That's right, such a coincidence can attract so many people's attention. It seems that after this time, there will be a big reshuffle of the situation here. Yes. Lin Rei, who understood Xia Feng's meaning, nodded in agreement. Then, the two of them returned to silence. At this moment, Hua Yuyin, who was sitting opposite them, was stunned. Looking at the two of them talking to each other, she was speechless. However, due to Xia Feng's strength, Hua Yuyin didn't act rashly. Instead, she sat aside quietly and waited for the dishes to arrive. I'm sorry, everyone. There are too many people in the shop today, and we have neglected you. This is the mysterious rain wine that our shopkeeper has specially prepared for you as an apology. Please try it first. The dishes will be sent to you in a moment. What do you think? Just when the situation was extremely awkward, the waiter's voice was heard. At the same time, a fragrant smell drifted over. Sure. At this moment, Lin Rei only heard the waiter say that the wine was to be sent. He didn't hear the rest, because at this moment, Lin Rei's eyes were locked on the mysterious rain wine in the waiter's hands. Chapter 750. His eyes were full of passion, his throat was moving, and his face was full of desire. Looking at this scene, Xia Feng covered her face and turned her body to the side as if she didn't know him. Not only Xia Feng, but even Hua Yuan had the same reaction as Xia Feng. Both of them didn't expect Lin Rei to behave like this. However, Xia Feng was slightly better. After all, she knew that Lin Rei was a complete drunkard. As long as he found the wine in a shop to be especially delicious, he would disregard his own safety and plunder everything. At this moment, Xia Feng silently mourned for the shop owner in her heart. Sigh. I hope this guy won't plunder all the wine in this shop like he did in the past. However, although she acted as if she didn't know Lin Rei, her nose was attracted by the mysterious rain wine. After all, she loved wine very much. Especially after smelling the wine's aroma, she wanted to taste it even more. Okay, please wait a moment. I'll give you breast milk now. At this moment, after hearing Lin Rei's words, the waiter placed the wine on the table and turned around to leave. Hee, there's wine to drink. Seeing that the waiter had left, Lin Rei fixed his eyes on the wine again. Then, he reached out and grabbed the wine, tilting his head back and drinking. Gulp, gulp, this was the so-called gulp. Hearing the sound of Lin Rei drinking, Xia Feng turned around and watched as Lin Rei finished the wine bit by bit. For a moment, she couldn't help but say, don't drink anymore. Leave some for me. When Hua Yuan heard Xia Feng's words, she rolled her eyes to express everything. Here. Hearing Xia Feng's words, Lin Rei directly handed the wine bottle to Xia Feng and shared it with her. After all, they were friends who went through thick and thin together. He could still afford to give her something like this. Okay. Looking at the bottle of wine, Xia Feng didn't refuse. She took the wine and started drinking. The way she drank was similar to how Lin Rei drank before. A bottle of wine was quickly finished by the two of them. At this time, the dishes were served. Looking at the dazzling array of dishes, Lin Rei said, "Hurry up and eat. After we finish eating, we'll prepare to head to the ancient corpse trove." After saying that, he no longer paid any attention to the crowd. Instead, he lowered his head and picked up a dish to eat. At this moment, his appearance shocked Xia Feng and Lin Lei. It was not because of anything else, but because Lin Rei's head was almost stuck to the plate. In the process of being stunned, Lin Rei had already finished one plate at an extremely fast speed. Then, he grabbed another plate and began to eat. Just like that, plate after plate of food was served. When the evil phoenix saw that the dishes were about to run out, he rolled up his sleeves and began to eat. Regarding the actions of Lin Rei and Xia Feng, Hua Yuan was very surprised. She couldn't imagine that such a strong person would have such a strange scene. And just as they were eating, Chu Xia and Xia Feng, who had fainted because of the alchemy, came to the table and then joined in the vortex. This scene, the actions of the four people, not only caused Hua Yuan to be shocked, but also attracted the attention of the surrounding people. Everyone's expression was the same as Hua Yuan's. During the meal, Lin Rei's mind went into the system and found the place where the Pai Xiu was, which he had never visited before. Ever since he took a drop of the Pai Xiu's blood essence, he had never visited it again. At this moment, he came to the system space where the Pai Xiu was. Looking at it, he saw a monster's body that was hundreds of feet tall appear in his darkness. Damn, it can't be. I just didn't come in for a while and it grew to such a level. Looking at the huge body, Lin Rei was shocked. Lin Li wasn't just shocked by the Pai Xiu's body, he was even more shocked by the Pai Xiu's cultivation. At this moment, the Pai Xiu's cultivation had already recovered to the middle stage of the hierarch realm. Its entire body was emitting a terrifying aura and pressure. Even Lin Li, who had just seen it, was stunned. Suddenly, the originally sleeping Pai Xiu, after sensing Lin Li's aura, slowly woke up, and a beast roar that shook the heavens spread throughout the entire space. Lin Rei, who had been listening to the beast's roar the whole time, suddenly rolled his eyes. It was enough to express everything he wanted to say. "You little brat, do you know that it's very inhumane for you to put me here?" Suddenly, the Pai Shou opened its mouth. However, the words it said were very tiring with its current identity and the pressure it exerted before. It was like the soul of a loafer and the body of a superior. This difference made Lin Rei stunned. What's wrong? Can't speak? Seeing Lin Rei's silence, the Pai Shou continued to pursue. This. At this moment, Lin Rei was really in the wrong. When he saved Pai Shou before, he said that he would only let Pai Shou follow him for a few hundred years. But now, Pai Shou had been locked up here for almost a few thousand years. Looking at the Pai Shou, Lin Rei opened his mouth to negotiate. "Brother Pai Shou, you see, I had something to do before, so I won't come. But I saw something too. No, I don't want to do it." Pai Shou had basically figured out Lin Rei's nature after so many years. In the Pai Shou's heart, Lin Rei was a shameless person, but he was a righteous person who kept his oath. However, for Lin Rei's shamelessness and his oath, the Pai Shou had already experienced it. When he saw Lin Rei just now, the Pai Shou's right eyelid began to twitch wildly. As the saying goes, one doesn't visit a temple without a cause. Now that Lin Rei came, he must have something to say. Sure enough, just when the Pai Shou was thinking, Lin Rei opened his mouth and said exactly the same as him. Then, he immediately said the three-nose policy that he had thought of before. So sure. Looking at the Pai Shou's straightforward refusal, for a moment, Lin Rei asked awkwardly. "Yes, I'm so sure, you." Seeing that the Pai Shou was so stubborn, Lin Rei was silent. "The last time you came, you asked me to give you a drop of blood essence. You said that the thing that you can say must not be a small matter, so it's normal that I don't agree." Facing Lin Rei's silence, the Pai Shou panicked. Although he said the three-nose policy, he was a bit uncertain about Lin Rei. After all, Lin Rei was the kind of person who farts silently, and every time, it was a big fart. Listening to the words of the Pai Shou, Lin Rei thought about it and then took out a 9 revolutions Hunyuan Dan. Since this pill was useful for Xie Feng, it would be even more useful for the Pai Shou. Sure enough, as soon as the pill was taken out, the medicinal fragrance drifted in the air. The Pai Shou's body suddenly stood up and whispered with a shocked face, 9 revolutions Hunyuan Dan? This is 9 revolutions Hunyuan Dan, yes, it must be. As he said, his eyes locked on the small pill in Lin Rei's hand. It really is. At this moment, the Pai Shou smiled with surprise. The 9 revolutions Hunyuan Dan could be said to be of great use to him. How could he not like it? Give it to me, whatever you want, I will agree to it as long as you supply me with the 9 revolutions Hunyuan Dan. Thinking of the previous Pai Shou's unyielding appearance, for a moment, after thinking about it, Lin Rei had the urge to laugh out loud. However, seeing that the Pai Shou finally agreed, Lin Rei quickly said, "Well, as long as you agree, I will give you the 9 revolutions Hunyuan Dan." Whoosh! As soon as his voice fell, a white wave of air instantly came out of the Pai Shou's mouth, and then instantly came in front of Lin Rei, rolled up the 9 revolutions Hunyuan Dan in Lin Rei's hand, and finally accurately fell into the mouth of the Pai Shou. Phew! Awesome! At this moment, the Pai Shou was very satisfied, but he was very curious about how Lin Rei refined such a high-grade pill. "How did you refine the 9 revolutions Hunyuan Dan?" "As far as I know, only that old fart Hong Jun has this kind of pill." "You, Hong Jun? Old fart?" Hearing the question of the Pai Shou, Lin Rei was stunned. He knew about Hong Jun. Now, the enemy said that he was old fart. However, Lin Rei did not stay on this question for long, and immediately explained, "I got this by accident, you don't have to care about the rest, you just need to know that I can give you what you want, that's enough." Hearing this, the Pai Shou nodded his head. That's true. Tell me, what do you want me to do? It's very simple, drag us to the ancient corpse depository, then the deal between us will be over, what do you think? Lin Rei said his plan. At this moment, after hearing Lin Rei's words, the Pai Shou hesitated. He did not expect Lin Rei to ask such a question. As a member of the untainted tribe, born by heaven and earth, he had a noble status, but now he was being ridden by a small emperor god cultivator. This made him lose face. However, when he thought of the 9 revolutions Hunyuan Dan, the so-called face disappeared. Thinking of this, the Pai Shou agreed. Okay, it's settled. Good. In that case, I'll let you out in a while, and then take us to the ancient corpse depository at the fastest speed. The Pai Shou agreed, and Lin Rei was very happy. Immediately, his divine sense exited the system. At this moment, in the outside world, the meal was over. Looking at everyone's enjoyment, Lin Rei said, okay, since everyone is full, let's go. In response to Lin Rei's words, everyone nodded in agreement. Looking at everyone, Lin Rei nodded with a smile, and then asked Chu Xi to pay. The moment Lin Rei and the others walked out of the restaurant, they flew up into the sky. Come out. The next moment, a huge monster appeared in the sky. Immediately, the area under the huge monster was covered by its shadow, and it became dark. Hiss. That is? Oh my god, what is that thing? The moment everyone saw the Pai Shou, they began to talk about it. Even Xie Feng, Chu Xi, Yun Kai, and the rogue Hua Yuan, who were beside Lin Rei, could not help but be shocked when they saw the Pai Shou. Pai Shou? At this time, Xie Feng, who had recovered, revealed the identity of the Pai Shou. Lin Rei was not surprised by this. After all, they were the first creatures in the untainted land. Okay, let's not talk about it, let's leave quickly. Instead of answering Xie Feng's question directly, he took Xie Feng and the other 2 and disappeared instantly. When they reappeared, they were already on the back of the Pai Shou. As for Hua Yuan, she was still in the same place, looking dazed, and did not come to her senses. Okay, let's go. At this time, the Pai Shou, who had been waiting for a long time, heard Lin Rei's words and instantly disappeared into the sky. Those who were able to make it here were all elites of their sections. They had never suffered such humiliation in their sections. Now, after hearing the discussions of the crowd and the killing intent of the jade-faced Rakshasa, they wanted to vent their anger. However, they couldn't because the person standing in front of them was an expert of the same generation as their elders. He was a mountain that they couldn't cross yet. The water school disciples could only grit their teeth and swallow their anger. In the end, they could only wait until they were strong enough to get their revenge. But now, they could only bow and apologize. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry, Senior Azura. We were rash and didn't consider your opinions. We'll leave now. Enjoy your meal. With that said, Shui Zongxin left Stormwind House in front of everyone's eyes. Ha ha ha. Laughter erupted from the mouths of the Water Sect members as soon as they emerged from the Gale Rain Tavern. The sound caused the faces of the Water Sect members to turn as red as pig liver, and their hearts to fill with resentment and hatred. Humph. Just you wait. Sooner or later, I'll be back for revenge. The young man from the water school turned, glared at the Stormwind House signboard, and then left with his people. Young master, what do we do next? At this moment, Chu Xi, seated by the window on the second floor of Stormwind Manor, was asking Linley for instructions. Heh. Let's wait and see. The ancient corpse vault hasn't opened yet, and all the sects are stirring. I don't want to appear in front of them so soon. It's best if Ning Yuan doesn't know I've been here. That way, I can sneak in, take the 10 treasures, and leave. Lin Rei and the others were sitting on the second floor. Hua Yinghua wasn't among them. More than 2 months had passed since Linley left Jade City. In these 2 months, the Pai Shio's group had crossed several continents before finally arriving at the closest city to the ancient corpse trove. In the past few days, Lin Rei's life had been rich and exciting. Apart from cultivating on the Pai Shio's back, he spent the rest of his time refining pills. In the past 2 months alone, Linley had refined hundreds of 9 revolutions mixed energy pills. However, he didn't use a single one. Instead, he gave all of them to the demonic phoenix, as well as the Pai Shio that carried them. Of course, in the beginning, the Pai Shio and the demonic phoenix had nearly come to blows over the pills. But for some reason, in the end, the two of them came to an agreement that each of them wanted half of the pills that Linley had refined. Linley didn't know whether to laugh or cry at this, but he couldn't refuse. In the end, he could only smile bitterly and nod. Although he didn't want to, he still had to do it. After all, the refinement process of the 9 revolutions mixed energy pill and the spiritual ingredients required were astronomical prices, yet they had been refined for 2 months. If this happened in the saints' world, there would probably be a few saints who would become restless and fight over them. After all, chaotic chi was not something that could be easily obtained in the saints' world. Apart from a few powerful figures from a few sects who could obtain it, others could only cultivate in the saints' world spiritual energy to strengthen their own cultivation. Actually, in my opinion, we might as well go straight into the ancient corpse vault. The sudden words attracted Lin Rei's attention. At this moment, the person who spoke was Xie Feng. You want to go straight in? You have to know that the ancient corpse vault hasn't opened yet. You. Lin Rei was puzzled. Sigh. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Xie Feng sighed helplessly and said, so what if it hasn't opened? Have you forgotten that although it's sealed, it's just talismans and formations? No matter how wrong it is, it's just a restriction. I don't believe that with your current level of formations, you can't break it. Of course, even if you can't break it now, it's still better than doing it here. After Xie Feng's words, Lin Rei was stunned and fell silent. That's right. The seal is at most made up of formations or talismans. With my current level, maybe I can really break it? As he thought about this, for the sake of getting more information, Linley's divine will entered his system and began to ask questions. System, tell me. If I'm now, can I break the seal outside the ancient corpse vault? Lin Rei stopped talking. After a while, the system spoke. I don't know. I haven't seen the ancient corpse vault and don't know how strong the restriction outside is, so, Hearing this, Lin Rei smiled awkwardly and continued, it doesn't matter if you haven't seen it. According to your imagination, if I can break the seal outside the ancient corpse vault, what are the chances? At this time, the system was speechless and didn't say anything. In this regard, Lin Rei looked at the system and didn't have any further confirmation. Finally, he fell silent. Alright, since that's the case, I'll leave first. I'll see when I reach the ancient corpse vault. After saying that, he instantly exited the system and returned to his body. At this moment, he made a decision. He would go to the ancient corpse vault first. No matter if he could break it, or not, there was no harm in going first. After all, there was an old saying that the early bird gets the worm. Lin Rei believed that this saying was well-founded. Alright, since that's the case, we'll go to the ancient corpse vault later and break the seal. I'd like to see how strong this seal is. Don't be fooled by Linley's self-confidence. Beneath his confident exterior, however, was an extremely guilty conscience. Although he felt that his own level of insight was very high, for him to be able to break through a Tibetan seal, one could imagine how powerful the seal was. Chapter 754. Xie Feng's eyes flashed with amusement as she looked at the jade-faced Rakshasa. However, she didn't notice it at all. Heh, cooperating with you? You're overthinking it. It would be a waste not to take such a good thing. Innate treasure, this is, of course, evil Phoenix naturally couldn't say this out loud. Although he said this in his heart, he didn't show it on his face. Forget it, we don't know if that thing is real or not. Moreover, we are going in for the Corpse King pill. We don't want to consider anything else, so, after speaking, Demonic Phoenix shrugged, then turned to look at Linley, as though he wanted to know what Linley was thinking. Damn, this guy. Lin Rei's face darkened as he watched Xia Feng kick the balloon jade-faced Azura over. At this moment, Lin Rei cursed Xia Feng no less than 100 times in his mind. Yes, this time we're going to find the Corpse King pill, so, sorry. Of course, despite Xia Feng's words, after spending so much time with her, he already knew what Xia Feng was thinking. It would be strange if Xia Feng wasn't tempted by a innate treasure, such a top-grade artifact. A innate treasure. It wasn't something any top-grade artifact could compare to. Moreover, the Corpse King, the master of the ancient corpse vault, had ruled it for so long. Perhaps the Corpse King had already found the Buddhist beads. As for Chu Xiai and Chu Li, they didn't know much about connate treasures, so they were confused. Fine. The jade-faced Rakshasa was disappointed at Lin Rei's refusal. She thought they would agree to her request because of her family's wealth. But now, she was very surprised. It wasn't that her things weren't tempting enough, but that she was facing Lin Rei. Just the things in the storage rings of the people he killed before were comparable to what the jade-faced Rakshasa had. If he added his own, even the jade-faced Azura's wealth wouldn't be 1/10 of what Lin Rei had. Of course, her biggest weakness was that she didn't know Lin Rei. If she did, she wouldn't have made such a request. Furthermore, even if she used her own cultivation technique, or herself, Linley would still be indifferent to it. At home, he had 2 beautiful wives who were as beautiful as flowers and as beautiful as jade. How could he take a fancy to the jade-faced Rakshasa? Moreover, there was no way that Lin Rei would be interested in her cultivation method. After all, there was a sutra pavilion in the system. You could have any cultivation method you wanted in there. Moreover, all of them were better than hers. With such conditions, why would Linley want to work with her? Of course, unless that person was a fool. Seeing the jade-faced Azura's melancholy, Lin Rei chuckled. He stood up and said to Xia Feng and the others, "All right, since we're done eating, let's go for a walk." Are you sure now? Facing her, Lin Rei didn't have the urge to speak at all. He had nothing to say. The situation was very awkward. Not knowing what to do, he took out an immortal fruit from his storage ring and swallowed it. Crunch, the sweet fruit juice was very delicious. If this was the immortal world, if someone saw Lin Rei eating this fruit, they would definitely want to kill him or trick him to come here. Ding dong, The sudden sound of the system notification surprised Lin Rei. He hadn't heard this sound in a long time. Every time, it was because there was a mission, and it was dangerous. Now that it was here, he couldn't help but be vigilant. On the other side, she felt Lin Rei's immortal realm tense up. She thought that an expert had arrived. Then, she released her divine sense and began to investigate. However, after scanning with her divine sense, she didn't find anything out of the ordinary. However, she was puzzled by Lin Rei's vigilance. In the end, she had no choice but to remain silent. At this moment, hearing the notification, Lin Rei's divine sense moved and he instantly entered the system. Looking at the clear sky, Lin Rei asked, "What's the matter?" "Actually, it's nothing. I just checked just now and found that there is a very rare demon beast living in the Sky Mountain range. This demon beast is the first living thing in the universe." "What? The first living thing in the universe is here?" Lin Rei was shocked. He opened his mouth wide enough to fit a fist. It was very funny. Chapter 755. That's right. Looking at Lin Ray's comical expression, the emotionless system chuckled. But at this moment, Linley didn't care about whether he laughed or not. Instead, he focused all of his attention on the first batch of living beings. What is it? The 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig is one of the most miraculous races in the world. Only one will be born in the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig race every millions of years. Actually, I wasn't sure at first. However, the system has detected signs of activity from the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig tribe. So, do you want it or not? At this moment, the system directly placed the choices in front of Linley, allowing him to choose. It was exactly the same as the one it had given him before. To be honest, when the system mentioned the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig, Lin Ray's heart skipped a beat. Although he didn't know what it could be used for, it was the first batch of living creatures in the world. Just like Xie Feng and Pai Xiu, they were born from the world infused with the Great Tao. Oh, right, I forgot to tell you. While Linley was silent, the system seemed to have thought of something and added, the uniqueness of the 8 Treasures Exquisite Boar clan is that they are immune to all spells and are immune to all spells. Furthermore, their physical bodies are extremely powerful. Of course, that's not the most important thing. The 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig tribe is the most powerful and most sought-after ability. They are born with an affinity for heaven and earth treasures. To put it bluntly, the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig tribe is also known as the treasure-hunting pig tribe. They specialize in finding extremely precious heaven and earth treasures. They don't care about ordinary heaven and earth treasures. Previously, Lin Ray was tempted. However, after hearing the system's explanation, he became impulsive. At this moment, he wanted nothing more than to flip the entire soaring sky mountain range upside down and capture the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig. Then, he would get him to help him search for godly medicines, godly souls, and various top-notch treasures. Although he didn't need some of them, he still had a sect to support. Lin Ray's catchphrase was, "I'm so poor." How about it? You have 2 choices. Do you want to capture it or not? Of course, I have to make it clear to you first. Lin Ray, who was originally very excited and impulsive, felt like a bucket of cold water had been poured over his head when he heard the system's prerequisites. His excitement and impulsiveness were instantly washed away. As far as he could remember, as long as the system said something like, "but," it would not end well. If he didn't peel off a layer of his skin, then, the system wouldn't give up. When he heard the word prerequisites, Lin Ray was stunned. The system chuckled at Lin Ray's expression and didn't think too much about it. Yes, I'm sure and certain that the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig is here. But here comes the problem. How do we capture it? It is immune to magic and has a dominating physical body. Yes. The 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig was a terrifying race in the prehistoric era. If it weren't for the first Great Tribulation, perhaps they would have become the #1 living creature. At this moment, Xie Feng wasn't exaggerating at all. If they couldn't become the #1 living creature by relying on their race's insane constitution and abilities, then it would be an irritable heavenly item. The heavens must be blind. While the 2 of them were thinking about how to capture the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig, Xie Feng's eyes glinted as though she had thought of something. Why? You've thought of something? Lin Ray asked anxiously. Heh. Looking at Lin Ray's anxious expression, Xie Feng burst into laughter. Lin Ray was speechless at Xie Feng. But in order to obtain the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig, Lin Ray hid his expression. Hurry up and say it, Madame Xie Feng. Holy shit. Seeing Linley's despicable appearance, the demonic phoenix was stunned and astonished. This was the first time she had seen this side of Linley after such a long time. All right then. Actually, capturing the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pig isn't that troublesome. Oh. This thing is good stuff. I originally planned to refine a supreme-grade divine artifact or elixir. Unfortunately, for the 8 treasures exquisite pig, I can only reluctantly give it up. With that, Lin Rei clutched his chest and looked as if his heart was being torn apart. It looked very funny. TSK. Who would believe that? Lin Rei's words could only fool a 3-year-old child. After working with him for so long, Xia Feng knew very well what he had. Just now, any item he took out was enough to make the 7 sects fight endlessly for it. They could even go to war and fight to the death. Therefore, when Lin Rei said that he was very poor, Xia Feng only had 2 words in her heart to express it. Haha. Believe it or not, it's up to you. After being seen through by Xia Feng, Lin Rei quickly turned his face away and stopped talking. Bang, oh woo, just as the 2 of them were silent, on the other side, the test between Chu Ci and Yun Kai came to an end. The miserable roar attracted the attention of Lin Rei, Xia Feng, and jade-faced Rakshasa. At this moment, the 3 of them turned around and looked at the battle between Chu Ci and Yun Kai in the distance. At Chu Ci's side. At this moment, Chu Ci was resolute. She used her water cloud sword technique to the extreme. The sword aura that filled the sky were like thousands of swimming dragons as they swam around the huge bodies of the monstrous beasts. Wherever the sword aura passed, the monstrous beasts would suffer the consequences of being cut open. Fresh blood flowed out from the wounds like a small stream. The scene was very bloody. However, the blood of a grand perfection god emperor monster was a great nourishment. Even the trees were an exception. The blood of the monster splattered on the trees. It could be seen that the trees were rapidly absorbing the blood. Regarding this, Linley was certain that before long, they would all develop intelligence and become demonic beasts. Seeing this scene, Lin Rei revealed a smile. His eyes were filled with joy and admiration. He wasn't the only one. Even the evil phoenix and the jade-faced Rakshasa felt the same. One had to know that cultivators who could challenge cultivators above their level were the elites of their sections. Moreover, the 2 of them were fighting against demonic beasts. This made them even more powerful. Ordinary Grand Perfection God Emperor monsters, even Grand Perfection God Emperor cultivators, would not dare to provoke such a powerful monster. Of course, it would be easier if there were 2 or 3 of them. Looking at the other side, Yun Kai's results were even more outstanding. After all, during this period of time, Linley had been paying close attention to her cultivation and battle prowess. As for Chu Ci, Linley had asked him to concoct pills. Thus, prior to this, he had already considered who would emerge victorious. Looks like there's no suspense on Yun Kai's side. The outcome will be revealed soon. Caressing the primal chaos dragon spear, Lin Rei said gently. In the next second, the originally gentle face of Lin Rei immediately turned as cold as frost. He gave off a feeling that anyone who dared to approach within a radius of 300 meters would die. Looking at the monster, Lin Rei shouted to Chu Ci behind him, "Watch carefully. This is the martial god's test." With that, Lin Rei's spear was placed in front of his chest. His late-stage God Emperor cultivation was pushed to the limit. Terrifying ripples of spiritual energy rushed out from his body. Martial God's test, first style absolute kill, the spear was thrown out. Like a long dragon, it rushed in front of the monster in an instant. The momentum of the spear was enough to cause people to be stunned. However, an even more terrifying event occurred. The space around the demon beast started to warp when he utilized the first martial god test. In the end, due to the warping of space, the demon beast's body started to be torn apart bit by bit. The profundity of the martial god's test lay in the word space. Rather than saying that it was a battle technique, it would be better to say that it was a disguised form of space magic. It was just that it was revealed through spear techniques. The space became more and more distorted. After the monster's body was torn apart by the distortion of space, Lin Rei withdrew his cultivation and placed the spear on his back. Dong. With a loud sound, the martial god's test disappeared. The monster that was torn apart fell from the sky and smashed into the ground. Letting out a long sigh, he turned around and looked at Chu Ci, who was staring at him with wide eyes. A hint of a smile appeared on Linley's face, and he said, "What do you think? How was my tactic?" That was simply too cool, too awesome, too cool." Hearing Linley's question, Chu Ci hurriedly came back to her senses, and her face was full of excitement as she spoke. At this moment, he wished he could become a high-grade Grandmaster Alchemist. That way, he would be able to directly practice such a powerful combat technique. If that's the case, then cultivate well in the future. Redouble your efforts in cultivating. As long as you become a high-level Grandmaster Alchemist, I will impart the martial god test to you and refine an acquired supreme treasure for you. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.